By the end of this video, I'll be relaxing in a refreshing swimming pool, but man, there's a lot of work to get there. Starting at the beginning, going through the permit process, and calling 811 and waiting for any utilities to be marked before digging. I white flagged the general area, and this is just so the utility companies only search the work area and don't waste their time and mark up the entire property where it's not needed. And as you can see, a couple of the companies had already given the okay by the time I started filming. To finalize exactly where the pool was going to go, I just used a few tape measures to find the center point, where I could then drive a stake to hook a flexible tape on and get the circle painted. We're doing a 24-foot round pool, so I'm marking out roughly 27 feet here to give me some working room all the way around. Meanwhile, I called to get 3 yards of fine mason sand delivered, which will be used as the base under the pool, and they were here probably 30 minutes later. Always nice when companies are on it like that. I also got all the 12x12 patio blocks I need that the pool columns will be sitting on. And later that same day, the pool and everything I ordered along with it got delivered. Not sponsored at all, but since I know some of you will want to know, I ordered everything from thepoolfactory.com. On to install day. I rented a mini skid steer to do the digging, but while waiting for the rental place to open, I went ahead and got started opening up the edges by hand to give me a clean place to start with the machine. For this size of pool and how deep I was going, the Ditch Witch mini skid steer was great in my opinion. Can't remove as much material at a time as a full-size machine, but being able to hop on and off and maneuvering inside the circle was great. I had my fun on the machine, but I let my dad hop on so I could do the shovel and wheelbarrow work, because well, a wheelbarrow at a time also is still faster than just standing around. And while we're digging, a little bit more about the pool. We're doing what's called a semi-inground pool, which is actually rated to go halfway in the ground. So a 54-inch tall pool can be buried 27 inches. Obviously, these are a fraction of the price of a full-blown in-ground pool, which is a main driving factor of going this route. But also, at some point, there used to be an in-ground pool here in this area that was crushed and filled in. So it would be a nightmare to dig down too deep and start running into that old pool. Also, I needed to maintain a certain height to avoid having to put a fence around the pool too, so long story short, the side closest to the camera here, even though it's rated to be buried 27 inches, we went down 18 inches, which is still a ton. And of course, since the yard slopes, the back side is less than that. And just real quick on the permitting process, I think it's a huge misconception that, oh, I live out in the country, I don't need a permit for a lot of things. And for the most part, that's just not true. I don't live in a city limit, but the county and state still have requirements. Obviously, me filming and putting it on the internet, I'm going to do what's legally required in my area. Just wanted to point that out to always check your local codes. Honestly, it's not a huge deal to get permits, just gotta run around and most importantly, pay fees to several government offices, of course. Anyways, as we're digging and throughout the whole process of getting the pad ready, you'll see I'm using this rotary laser to check grade and make sure it's level all around. I have this Milwaukee that I love by the way, but even if you have to rent one, it makes it so much faster and easier to make sure the pool ends up level, which is important visually, but also structurally for the integrity of the pool. After getting it dug out to depth and leveled, we then wet and compacted the whole thing with a plate compactor to really make sure it was solid. Then, while I still had the Ditch Witch, I went ahead and got all the sand moved inside the circle. The sand gets spread inside the pool walls, but at least getting it in the middle there saved a ton of shovel work. The next step was digging out and recessing those paver blocks so they're flush with the compacted soil. It was tedious work, individually leveling each one, and then using a longer level to go from one to the next. But this is where you can really dial it in and make sure the whole thing is as close to perfect as possible. As I got the blocks placed, Taylor followed behind me to make sure the dirt in between each was completely flat and compacted. From there, I got the bottom of the columns and bottom rails in place and waited for help with the walls. This step is absolutely a job for as many people as possible. You can see I'm using a couple pieces of plywood to set and unroll the steel walls on, which is incredibly heavy, while my dad and Taylor get it placed inside the bottom track. With my mom and daughter helping hold the walls up from the outside, and little man there is handling the supervisor duties. You can't really see it here in the video, but I do have some string lines with hooks set up to help hold the walls, and then I get some T-posts temporarily pounded in on the inside as well to keep the walls from caving in. There's a stainless steel panel where the seams come together with like 800 nuts and bolts, and then on the inside you cover the bolt heads with a few layers of duct tape just to make sure there's no sharp burrs that can puncture the liner. With the walls up, next I could finish leveling out and compacting the sand base on the inside. I started by getting the perimeter all set and compacted, then drove a stake in the center to attach a board and screed around the whole area in a circle. With the sand all set, I then spread out the bottom protective barrier, which is basically just a super thick weed barrier. This came already cut to size, and 2/3 of it was great, but where the last section was sewn together, it was a little jacked up, and really a pain to try and flatten out. But up next was the foam cove pieces that go around the bottom. You can use sand to build this up yourself, but in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that much money to add these on and not have to fuss with the sand. The tape stuck great and just made it real easy to make sure it was all uniform. The last thing before getting the liner installed was gluing on some foam insulation around the inside, which we were steadily getting some storms during this project, so using a squeegee here made quick work of getting all the rainwater off the walls first. I don't really know how much this helps in terms of insulating, but it definitely is an added layer of protection for the liner for not much added cost. We went with a thicker 30 gauge overlap liner, which as the name implies, just overlaps on the wall and is held in place with coping strips. I started by just getting it stretched out and over the walls, and then I could move the liner with my feet and keep pulling more over the wall or letting some out wherever needed to get rid of any wrinkles. Once it was close enough, we started adding a couple inches of water to the bottom just with my garden hose, and this really helped add some weight and make it easier to get rid of the wrinkles, along with using a vacuum taped inside the return hole to suck out any trapped air. Like I mentioned earlier, I am in the country, so I'm on well water, which is not ideal for filling a pool this size. For one, it would take forever, it'd be rusty water, and I've already paid enough for work on our well in the past. So to avoid all that, I did order for clean and chlorinated water to be delivered the next day. So the last bit of prep I needed to do before that was get a little concrete pad poured for the pump and filter and get as much of the plumbing ready as possible. I don't know what I was expecting, but it took 2 of these huge trucks, and they couldn't get back my driveway, but thankfully they were prepared to just pump it all the way from the main road. As you can see, I also have all the columns on the pool installed, which I just realized I must not have filmed. Once the water level was a foot or so below the return hole and skimmer opening, I could then go ahead and cut those holes in the liner and get those installed. Besides the little bit of green on the bottom from our hose water sitting there for a day, it was looking great, and getting this water delivered gave us a huge head start. I will say it got incredibly tough to work on it at this point. It was like 90 plus degrees Fahrenheit and 100% humidity for most of this project, so it was hard to just not jump in. There were some other top stabilizer rails that I installed all around, along with rolling up the liner, and then to finish it up, I could get the top ledgers and caps installed. One thing that was part of the inspections I needed was bonding the pool, which is different but often confused with grounding. For bonding, I had to take a solid copper wire from the lug on the pump, bond it to the water, which I used this fitting coming off the skimmer, and then go all around the pool and attach it to the steel uprights in 4 different points. To get the pump started, I was just running it off an extension cord, which obviously you can't do long term, so up next was running power to that, which unfortunately I didn't really have an easy path to do so. I had to dig out and run conduit under our existing landscaping, but I got it done nonetheless and got a GFCI outlet installed on a post by the pump. At this point, I could call for my inspections, which passed with no problem, and once I was all clear, I did tape some thick 10mm plastic around the pool before backfilling, just to keep any dirt and rocks from directly touching the steel. Of course, I still have a ton of landscaping and patio work to do around the area, and maybe a fire pit area as well, which you'll have to let me know down in the comments if you want me to make another video on all that. But at this point, the pool itself is done and usable, so we'll go ahead and call it a wraps for this video. Like, subscribe, leave some comments, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it.